This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so today's session is about demo on Power BI. So if you have any questions, you can ask me any point in time. I'll answer those questions. And I'll not keep it theoretical. I will not go through PPTs a lot. I'll instead make a dashboard or a report on Power BI, which will be more interesting or exciting to watch. And how in a realistic scenario, when there is some data given to you by your manager or your director, they'll ask you, okay, this is the data, you draw some insights or you show me some details on this dashboard, which can be useful for him. Because generally, when we are working on databases, which I assume all of you understand when I mean a database, it's too much of data sitting around in multiple tables. How can we draw insights through that table? And in this course, I hope you guys have already got the course content, wherein we have totally 9 modules where I would be covering all the details about Power BI, how to use Power BI, what is the distinction between Power BI and Tableau, why Power BI is becoming more famous now. Is Tableau better than Power BI or Power BI better than Tableau? Like, then what is Power BI desktop? What is Power BI mobile app? And then what is Power BI service? What is Power BI server? Then modeling with Power BI, how to write DAX expressions. When we have to write some mathematical formulas to calculate few particular fields, which I will show today as well, like DAX, and then modeling with Power BI again, wherein we will do cardinality relationships between multiple tables, and then how we can use those, and visualization. Visualization is very effective in Power BI. And then what is the difference between dashboard and a report in Power BI, and then some Python integration into Power BI, and then once you publish a report into Power BI, how to refresh the data. All this would be covered in this course. But let's go to the assignment that I was talking today. We will work on dataset directly on Power BI, and we will make few graphs or few visualizations which will give us very nice insights about this data right now on the screen. So if you see this particular data, I've randomly drawn it from Google. So this is US Superstore data. On, in this data, you have 3 different sheets. One is orders, other one is returns, third one is users. Okay. And then if you see in orders data, we are having few particular columns wherein something like row ID, order priority, discount, unit price, shipping cost, all this, like a particular, when a person comes to a store, from the store's perspective, what all details a store requires, this all is present in this particular sheet. And then in the return sheet, we have order ID and the status of the order. And then in user sheet, we have region and the manager of that particular region. When we start doing model, we will understand why these different sheets are present. Okay, is there anyone chatting? Okay, no, nothing. Okay, now, as anyone in this group used any visualization tool before, either Tableau or Power BI, before I start? Okay, right. Then, first of all, why to use Power BI? Right now, okay, I'm showing you only three sheets of data, and in one particular sheet I'm having 2000 rows of data, and then in the next sheet I have around 1600 rows of data, and then third one I have just 5 rows of data. You could say or argue with me, I can make power pivots or power charts in Excel sheet only. Why you need a visualization tool like Tableau or Power BI? Okay, for 1600 or 2000, or let's assume 1 million also, Excel sheet we don't have any problem. Or once you go to 1 million, it will become very difficult to make any insights out of an Excel, until unless you add in or you make some kind of advanced Excel sheets or you write macros. Even macros are very tedious. Even the scripting language of macro is sometimes difficult to understand because of uh, its syntax. People find it difficult writing programming languages because of syntax. That is where the tools like Power BI or Tableau are very, very powerful. So first of all, Power BI, whose product it is? It is Microsoft's products. That is why it is gaining a lot of popularity now in visualization as compared to Tableau. And the latest buzz of ChatGPT, which has happened in 2023, Power BI has tied up with OpenAI, and you would have heard about yesterday Satya Nadella has recruited Sam Altman, who was fired from OpenAI, who was the creator of ChatGPT. What Microsoft has done in its all products, it is integrating OpenAI into it. So the artificial intelligence piece of it is helping us a lot. Even we will see one point in the course wherein we ask a question in plain simple English to Power BI, it will give you an answer on its own. If you will tell Power BI what is the sales in English, it will give you the answer immediately using the OpenAI integration that has been done into Power BI. So all the artificial intelligence which has been developed by OpenAI is also being integrated into Power BI. And where you can download this Power BI, you just need to type in Google Power BI download. You can go into this. We will download this Power BI desktop. Okay. Once you click on download, it will ask you shall I download. So it is around a 400 500 MB file which we will cover in the course once we start how to install it. It is very simple. As any software, you just need to click on next and it will be done within 1 2 minutes. So it is very straightforward. So I have already installed Power BI, but we will cover that once we register into the course. So let me go into Power BI and then do some visualization today. And yesterday before this course, I already did some visualizations onto Power BI using this Superstore data. So today I will do the same visualization or bit advanced to what I have done yesterday from scratch. Let me show you what I have done yesterday first of all. In the meanwhile, any questions from anyone one before I open the Power BI? And anyone working in data analytics, it's like, see, you need to know three things. You first need to know the basics of SQL for pulling the data from database, or you need to know one programming language, either Python or any of the data analytics language. And then once you pull the data, you need to transform the data and you need to show it in visualizations because people sitting at high level, they wouldn't like to see data. So for them, visualizations are the best part. So let me show you what all I have done yesterday. Let's do similar things today as well. Okay. So this data is coming through this particular Excel that I've shown. And if you see the modelings page of it, okay, returns, orders, users, returns, orders, users. These three are the sheets that are present in my modeling. And then I will explain you what are these lines in between connecting these three different sheets. And then what is this table? What is this graph? If you see sales and profit, and then I've created one more report called as orders. And then I have created some visualizations here. And then customers by product and sub product. And then in a particular month, how many orders are being made. So we will keep this as a reference model. Let me open a new Power BI and then we will start coding into that. Okay. If any one of you have any questions, please do ask. I don't have any problem. I'll answer right away. Or you can put it into the chat. I'm opening Power BI, a new one. Okay, this looks very similar to Excel sheet. What they have done, they felt that the data limitation in Excel sheet or some kind of transformations that we write in Excel using macros is very difficult. So they have developed a visualization tool, and then this is free. This Power BI desktop is free until unless you want to publish a report and share it with someone. Like today, I am publishing a report and I want to share this report with someone in our right now on the screen, might be Renz. If I have to share it with him and he wants to see this visualizations, that is where we need to pay for it. There is something called as Power BI Pro or Power BI Power User, all those things. There is a limitation of how many rupees or how many dollars that we have to pay to get a license. That we will discuss. And then this is the Power BI plain software. Once you install on your machine, this is how it will look. You can get the data from many places. Let me save it first and then we will start. Okay, browse. Superstore 11. Okay. If you have to get this data, if you would have seen, once I click on this get this data on the ribbon, this looks very similar to Excel. Like on the top, you will have home, insert, modeling, view, optimize. We'll see all those. And then once you click on data, you will see Excel workbook, Power BI data sets, data flows, data words, and there are multiple data sources that you can consume into this Power BI. You can connect directly to a database or an Azure platform or some other cloud service. You can pull the data into this and make beautiful visualizations. So right now, this Superstore data is an Excel sheet. This Superstore data, it is an Excel SX. That means it is an Excel workbook. Okay. Let me take it as an Excel work. Connect. If I take this data Superstore, it is loading the data into the Power BI. Once it loads the data, if you see, we had three different sheets in that Excel. One is orders, returns, and users. If you go back into Excel, orders, return, users. It is showing all the three here. Let me select all the three. Okay. And if you have a glimpse at it, if you see the orders was containing row ID, or order priority, discount, all these columns. It is displaying over here, just a small visualization. And then order ID status in the returns page, and then managers and region in the third users page. Okay. You can click on load data. Okay. The data is loaded. Let me close this Excel now. It's of no use to me. See, the data is getting loaded. Okay. Now let me save this again. I've loaded the data into this sheet, but before building any visualization, there is something called as transform data. Let me go over there and then do some transformation, very basic, like have a look at the data and then do some modifications. Okay. Once I click on transform data, row ID, it is showing as a number. Okay, fine. And then order priority, it is showing as ABC. If you see here on the top, 1 2 3 means this is a number. Power BI as a super power tool within itself, it will automatically detect the columns type. Like if you see, this is all numbers. So what it has done, it has read this as a number and it has automatically taken this into a number consideration. And then this is a string, alphabetical. So it has taken it as an ABC, which is a string. And then if you see, this is decimal points discount. It has automatically taken this as a decimal number. And then unit price. If you see all this, it has already modified the data basing on its input, whether it is a string or an integer or a decimal point, basing on its internal calculations. So if you see this one, I want to modify this customer ID into a text. I will tell you why. Okay. For the moment, I will modify this customer ID from 123 into a text. If you see right now, it is 123 on the screen. I modified it into a text. Now it has become ABC. That means I have modified this column into a text. Okay. So now let's apply. And if you see here, there are few applied steps. Okay. If you see in this applied step, what I have done, I have modified the here promoted headers and all those things. And then if you see the change type, customer ID, let me take this. So customer ID, which was number, I modified into text type. So even though you are doing it through a click form on the screen, Power BI AI on its own is writing the syntax for making this particular column from number to text. Okay. So this customer ID column, I modified from a number to text. If you see, the type has become text now. Okay. And then if you go back to Power BI, if I go to returns sheet, this order ID is written as number and then the status is string. Let's leave it over there. Heading is also proper. And then now in the users, if you see this particular row, region and manager is my header row, but it is not showing in header row. It is showing in rows. The first row, it, the column headers are named as column 1 and column 2. So what you can do here on the ribbon in the home tab, you have something called as use first row as headers. You can go here, click on this button. Automatically what will happen, region was sitting in the first row, it has been promoted into the header row. So if you see, there is one more step applied on the right hand side. If I delete this, you wouldn't see this. So it was under until promoted header. So let's remove this. Region manager, it is sitting in the first row. Right now you see only source navigation change type, but once you click on this use first row as headers, automatically there is a step applied, promoted header and change type. So this region and manager have been promoted into the header row. Okay. Now I have three different sheets. One is order sheet, return sheet, user sheet. Okay. So I will apply right now on the transform. Let me close this off. Let me go to Power BI and do some visualizations now. That was in the transform sheet wherein it will open Power Query and we can do transformations over there. We can do a lot of transformation. We can add a particular columns, we can concatenate columns, we can transform columns, we can write formulas over there. We can do a lot of things. But right now, today for the demo, it is not that important for us. So If I go into the model view, this is called as report view, wherein you can build visualizations. This is called as table view, wherein you can see the view of orders, returns, and users. You can see the data over here, just the visualization. And then this is called as model view, wherein you can define the relationship between particular columns. So right now, if you see, Power BI has already made the relationship between orders and users. Okay, but it has not made any relationship between returns and orders. Okay, let me delete this also. I will make the relationship on my own. Delete relationship. Okay, now I will click on manage relationships. What am I trying to do is, among the three sheets, I am trying to find a common column, and basing on that I will make the relationship. On the order sheet, I have something called as order ID, and in the return sheet I have something called as order ID again. Okay, I will join on this. So in order sheet I am considering order row ID, sorry, order ID, where is that? Okay, this one. On the order sheet I'm considering order ID, and even in the return sheet I'm considering order ID, and I'm making the relationship active. Click on OK. That is done. So you are combining this order sheet with return sheet using the common column order ID, and you will do the similar thing for the order sheet and the user sheet. The common column is region. If you see this region in the order sheet and region in the user sheet, once I click on OK, you see orders region, users region, close. Once I make that, you see the relationship has occurred over here on this model view. So once you click on this, you see, let me scroll down a bit. The relationship between returns and orders has happened on order ID. Once I navigate on this, both order ID are getting highlighted. And even on this, once I click on this relationship, the relationship between orders and users has happened on region column. Okay. So now we have made the relationship between three different sheets, but the common sheet being orders. So this is called as modeling view. You might have 100 different tables or 200 different tables, but you can make the relationships very simple. And if you have more than one more common column, you can make the join between them. So I will pause here. Any questions that you guys have? Anyone has any questions? Okay. If no questions, let me go into visualization. Hello. Okay. Any questions anyone has? I don't see anything in the chat also. So let me progress further. So now what we will do, basing on the data, there is something called as profits and sales, and we have state and province also. So let me pull that data over here. This is called as visualization page or canvas, wherein you can make the visualizations or you can show graphs, tables, whatever you want to. Let me pull up state here, state or province. Once I search for it and I take this, one second. Okay, that is fine. One second, there is some issue with that. Orders, order ID, customer, customer ID, customer name, sales, profit. Okay. Automatically, when we select a particular column from the data page, if you see here, I've selected order ID, customer name, sales, profit. It was automatically grouping this customer based on its customer ID and the order ID. It is showing us the sum of sales and profit. And if you see in total, we are having 19 lakh sales and then 2 lakhs of profit. And we have a lot of things also. If you see, there is a discount column as well. If I take the discount column, you would see even further. Like, what is the discount that we are providing? We are providing very less discount, which is around 95. But if you have to make visualization based on sales and profit according to the region, order ID does not make much of importance. So you can go here and it is very simple. If you would have seen, I'm just making a power pivot in Excel sheet, but in Power BI, it is making it pretty fast. So if I remove the order ID, okay, now it is vanished and we are having only customer ID, customer name, sum of sales, profit, discount. So this is a table. It is very straightforward. Whenever you select the columns on the screen on data, it will automatically pull up those columns and it will form a table. If you want to make a visualization of bar chart, let's assume I will choose a bar chart here. Okay, I've clicked on a bar chart. Let me select state here. Okay, and then I will take sales. If you see here, it was so simple. Right now, I just selected two columns from data here that we had in orders. One is state. I selected this, and then the other one I selected is sales. The moment I selected state and sales, Power BI has automatically placed x-axis and y-axis on its own. I did not even tell it, okay, you take this as x-axis or you take this as y-axis. It is very simple. We would have drawn graphs in 7th or 8th class. That is where we have learned. And even if you use some other visualization tools, you have to drag and drop it into x-axis or y-axis. What, basing on the selection, Power BI on its own has moved a particular column into x-axis and y-axis. So what it has done on y-axis, it has put state or province, and on x-axis it has put sum of sales. So if you see right now, we don't see any number, but on the graph we have 0.3 million. Okay, California being the highest state contributing to the sales of our business superstore. So I can modify this visualization. I want to see how much is California state contributing in sales. So what you can do, if you hover onto this, you are seeing 2,88,000. But instead, you can, which is 0.2 million, you can go here into format visualization. This is called as visualization pane. Okay. Beside data, you have something called as visualization. Your selection should be on this graph. And then once you click on visualization, format your visualization, there is something called as data labels here, or you can type here data. Okay. If I enable this, okay, now you see the numbers are reflecting. So California is contributing 0.29 million. New York is contributing 0.22 million. Okay. And in this graph, if suppose I want to see only top 5 states. So what you can do, select this graph and then you go into filters page here. This is called as filters page. This is called as visualizations page. This is called as data page. Once you go to filters over here, you have two filters here right now in default, which is state and province, which I have considered on the y-axis, and then sum of sales, which is on the x-axis. You need to go to state and province. Here you should select advanced filtering because I want to just see the top 5 basing on what sales. So you just need to drag this here into this. One second, top n, top n, and then you need to take this field of sales. How many? I just want to see 5, top 5. So you see now, these are my top 5 states contributing to the sales. Okay, this is how simple it is. If you want to see bottom 5, you just need to switch it to bottom 5 and then apply. If you see this, Delaware, Dakota, Mexico, these are the bottom 5 according to sales. Now I want to make the similar graph for profit, because at the topmost level they want to see the top 5 performing states and the bottommost performing states, and accordingly they will take some promotional activities or they will give discounts at a lesser discounts and all those things. So what you can do, that is the most beautiful part about Power BI. You just need to select this, you just need to copy this visualization, okay, and then in the, let me move this a little up, and here only you can just paste it again. And what I can do, I have put all the effort to build for state and sales. I will go to this visualization, click on this visualization. Instead of sales, I will remove sales here. I will bring up the profits column. Okay. The moment I select, if you see the same visualization, which I took 5 minutes of an effort to build for sales, now I have built it for profit, and then that too the bottom 5 records within no time, just 30 seconds hardly. I just need to copy this and then I just need to go here. I just need to go here and just replace the column with profit. Instead of sum of sales here, for this graph, I need to bring it as profit. If I apply, now you see we have negative profits like 19,400 in North Carolina. If you want to see the top 5, you just need to go here, switch to top, and then click on apply filter. So the, as expected, California is the topmost state by profit and sales both. Okay, California is making a sales of 0.29 million and they are giving a profit of 37K. Any questions? Anyone? Silence means either you guys are not understanding or you are understanding everything. Either of it. Okay. Now, this is the first chart that I've used, stacked bar chart. If you want, if you don't like this, you want to switch it to some other vertical charts. Okay, you can just select this chart, go here, click on this stacked column chart. It will automatically modify. It's that simple. If you want to see this as clustered bar chart, okay, you need to go here, click on it, automatically it will make the changes in the visualization. Okay, now this is about sales or profit. Now let's do one more thing. So if your boss asks you, this is the data that we have, I want to see visualization on topmost performing states according to sales and profit. This is how you can build a chart and give it to them. And this is the entire data lying under it. So this charts have been built based on this table. Okay. And now if you go back to the original data set, let me open this data set. We have returns from particular customers. So the order ID was returned. Okay. I want to build a chart across the states who are giving me maximum returns when they place the order. Okay. So what we will do, I will create one more report, order returns. Okay. Now what I want to see, let me take a visualization directly. Let me take it as a graph. I will take the columns as state and then returns, status, and then I will take how many order count, quantity of the orders. Okay, now that's good. Let me make this a bit bigger. Okay. Now I just selected this graph. I went in over here. I have searched for state. Okay. If you select this, you see this. I've selected for state. I've selected for status, and then I have selected for the number of orders that are being placed, the quantity of the orders, because that is what is will tell me how many orders have been returned or not. The quantity is important. So now, but I have the entire data. Now, if you see, there are returned data and then non-returns also. I want to separate. I want to filter. So there are two types of filters. One is called as slicer and another one is called as filters, which we have seen in the other page where we were going and selecting the top 5 or bottom 5 customers. So now slicer is a very good tool. It will split the data into multiple buckets basing on the selection that you are making. So slicer is this one. Okay, it is a very powerful tool. I'll show you now. Once you click on slicer, it'll act like a chart only. It'll ask you for columns. So I want to know returns, only the ones that are returned. So the moment I selected status, it has got me two values, because in our Excel sheet we had blank or else returned. So let me take this as a filter here on the top. These are called slicers, but it acts like filter only. Now once you select this, this is very clean. Okay, let me play with this only. Right now, if I select on returned, so my question was, I wanted to know, basing on each state, how many returns are being placed. Okay, my question's answer is solved, but I will make it more visually pleasing. So right now, as I told you, select on this graph or chart. Go here into visualization pane and format your visual. Okay, I want to see the number on this graph only. Select data labels. So 364 orders have been returned from California. That is being the topmost in sales, profit, and everything. And so the trend is like they are making more placements of orders and they are returning more. That is fine, because the ratio would be very less. And now, within the data labels only, you have few more things. Where you want to see this, the number is pretty small. So where you want to see this, I want to see it inside this 364. I want to see it inside of the graph. And then values also, the font is very small, 364. So let me increase the font. Okay, and then I want to make it conditionally formatting also. So now I'm having written from these many states only, and then I will write a formula which is similar to conditional formatting in Excel. Like, if value of the text is, what's the column, quantity, sum of order of quantity is greater than 100, make it into red, because that is where we are getting more returns. So this is as a number. So if you see, More than 100, this particular font has turned into red. Okay. And for less than 100, it is in default color, it was white. Okay. So you can make such kind of things on the data labels. If not, one second. I want to format this graph also. X-axis, Y-axis. Let me write the formula for X-axis, wherein quantity of orders, if it is greater than 100 as a number and less than the maximum, then make it into some this color. Second, one second. It did not modify. Title, text color, background. Okay. That's fine. We will leave it over there. I will show you later. So right now, even I want to see this slicer as a drop down, not as a button over here. Okay. How I can do is go into visualization. Okay. Slicer settings. I don't want this as a vertical list. I want this as a drop down. And then I want to select all button also. So now if you come here, once I select this select all button, I will get a select all button. Once you disable this, you don't get a select all button. You go here, you don't get a select all button. Okay. Now you have got a select all button also. Basing on selection of return, if you see, I will get only returns data. If you make select all, it will modify to all the data. So I just want to see returns data. Okay, this is slicer. Basing on this selection, automatically this will modify. Any questions on this graph, like on particular state, how many orders have been returned? Any questions here? Or I will move on to making the third visualization if no further questions. Okay. And then I want to see, basing on the product category, how many customers are there. Okay. So let me go into the third sheet, customers by product. Okay. Let's take a particular chart. We will modify the chart into pie chart or donut chart. Product. I just need to select the columns. Product category, and then I want to see how many customers are there. Customer ID, and then quantity. Okay. One second. This doesn't give much of a better picture. Let me show you in the bar graph. Okay. Let Please unselect this. Okay. So right now, if you wanted to see, we are selling three different product categories. One is office supplies, one is technology, other one is furniture. Among these three, if I want to see the value, you just need to go to visualization, go to search data callout, and then data labels, you enable it. It will show you the data over here. And then once you see the data, let me increase the font size of it. So 14.3K records we are selling in office supplies and 5.9K in technology and 5.1 in furniture. So this is by the product category. If you want to see it basing on sub product category, I just need to duplicate this visualization. Click on this visualization, go to data here, and then instead of product category, I can add sub product category. The moment I add sub product category, if you see in this, we are selling paper the most, and then pens and art supplies in second. So in this graph only, can I see sub product category? Yes. What you can do, select the sub product category also. And now if you see here, office supplies is split into multiple things, and you can see on the top like what are being sold, but it is not visually that pleasing. So what I can do, I can build a slicer. Okay. I will go here, choose a slicer. Okay. And in this one, what do I want to filter on? Sub product category. Once I click on sub product category, let me visually modify this filter also to have select all option as I've shown in the previous one. Slicer setting, drop down list, selection, don't use the control button, select all. It is that simple. See, Power BI, if you want to play visually, it is very simple. To make visualization, charts, bars, everything, it is very simple as compared to Tableau. But the good part I would call in Tableau is writing the formulas, the level of detail, writing the formulas, transforming the data. It is a bit 1 point better than Power BI, but Power BI has a lot of DAX formulas, which we will see once we start the course. So now in this one also, I want to have the search button enabled. So I will click on search button. Now, once you go here, I want to see paper. I will select paper. The moment I select paper, you see both the graphs are getting visually modified. Okay. Now you see we had 3,481 office supplies customers for it. Okay. And one second, orders being placed for paper, and then same because we are taking the same columns on both the things. If you, this is based on product category, the above hierarchy, and this is based on the sub product category. And if you want to see, I will select everything. I want to see in this the top 5. So what I will do, top n, and I will take the order quantity. I will keep top 10. Let's take top 10 products. Okay. And now in this one also, okay, my top 10 customers are buying these many in product range. And even here also I want to see. Okay, let me get the customer ID here. In the customer ID, I want to see the quantity, top 10, enable. Okay. Now, my top 10 customers, as per the quantities placed, they are buying these many products. Like in office supply, they are buying multiple. Okay, let me remove this one, sub product category from here. So, my top 10 customers, according to products, are buying 1715 orders from office supplies, 534 from technology, 325 from furniture. And then if you see in sub product category, my top 10 are buying pens and art supplies the most, which is 643. But if you see, without putting any filter, we had paper on the top. But now my top 10 companies are not buying paper the most. They are buying pens and art supplies the most, and storage and organization being the second. So now when I keep across all the customers, which are around 1000 or more in my data, paper was the most selling product. But when it comes to my top 10 companies which are placing me the most orders, which belong to the Californian state, they are not buying much of paper. Why would it be a reason? Because paper is being like at the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 eighth position. Why is it so? Does it give me any insights? So you can dig into the data more and make a decision based on that. You can make it paper also most selling in your top companies according to your product sales. So if you see, we have started the session at around 7:30. Now we are at 8:23. We have already made three different insights basing on the raw data that you had. And if you had to do this in pure Excel sheet, it would have taken you a long time. But I was explaining you and teaching you, it took me around 50 minutes to build this graphs. But to be honest, this will take for me alone less than 30 minutes. So if you do on this and you are well versed with Power BI, you can do it in even 15 minutes. So if your manager or director or anyone would give you this data, they will tell you, okay, you bring me insights out of it. So the moment I looked at the data, I thought there is sales and profit in it. So I want to see what are my top states. So you have your states here, California, New York, and we have seen the bottom states as per sales and profit also. Okay. And then I saw there were returns being placed of particular order, because returns are painful for any company. They don't want returns, order returns. But I wanted to see how many orders are being returned. So out of the total order, if you select all, if you see in California, we have around 3,300 orders which are not returned, and 300 orders are returned. So if you see, that is just 300 by 3000, 1% of the order, 10% of the orders, 10% of the orders are being returned from California. That is a point to worry. But if you see New York, the returns are very less, 45 returns only, but their sales are 2422, which are not being returned. So that is less concern for me. So for anyone, if they want to have some insights on why the products are being returned, what is the state that is returning more of an orders to us, so these are the states which are returning the orders to us. And if you see, California being the topmost. And then if you see customers by product, which products are being sold the most, even if you are just a grocery store or you are kind of a Lulu Mall, which is set up in Hyderabad, you want to figure out, like, among the products that are being sold in Lulu Mall, what is the product that is being sold more? And right now, ours is a superstore where we are selling office supplies, technology, and furniture. If you see, my office supplies are being sold most, and my furniture is the least most. And should I take any decision to make my store have a decent linear graph among all these three products? Because I just don't want to sell only office supplies. I want to be a conglomerate. I want to sell all the products. So if you see under, again, in office supplies, If you click on this office supplies, automatically the graph will switch to only office supplies. That how interacting Power BI is, and it will automatically do it. If you see, if I want to see under technology, what is the sub product that is being sold most, you click on this graph, it will show you computer peripherals, telephones and communication, office machines, and you click on furniture, it will automatically switch the graph. So once you click this back, the graph will go back to normal. And if you want to see pens and arts and supply where it is lying, you click on this graph, the above graph will be modified. Okay, that's how interactive it is. And you have a lot of visualizations to play around in Power BI, and that we will deep dive in visualization module in our course. But building graphs, drawing insights, looking at the data, transforming data, the Power BI is most powerful tool. And basing on your license, you can go to any amounts of data. You can go to 100 million data, 40 million data. You can play around very easily. And the power of transforming the data and making visualizations and making it interactive. Right now, you see, I just want to see office machines. Where does it belong to? I don't know. I just click on it. It will bring me. It is in technology. Okay, I want to see where this rubber bands are. Might be it is in the office supplies. You see, it is in the office supplies. That is how interactive it is. So I will stop the session here. You have 3 minutes of time. You can ask me any question, or that is it. You can post me in the chat also. Okay. Yes, Sandeep. Renz, might be I will mail you on that. Sandeep, you are on mute. You have raised your hands. I have seen.
No, no, actually, earlier question I raised the hand
Yeah, tell
regarding
me.
visualization. Yeah, yeah, it's been learned basics of the Power BI.
Hmm.
So I know basics of the Power data import and all. Just I want
Hmm.
to specialize in this.
So,
So just
like,
yeah,
have you done this visualizations and all before, or is it on the data
yeah,
transformation that
I've
you're
done before. Oh, yeah,
focused
I've
more?
done before. I know the basics and all.
You are more
How to
focused
import.
on DAX and transformation of data.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Next. Okay. So, Renz has asked a question on data color formatting, that is conditional formatting in Excel. You go on to this one, you go to format pane, and if you go to x-axis, you have something called as conditional formatting here. Okay, this is the range. Okay, now on the values, color, because this is my sum of order quantity, if it is greater than 100 and less than this, I'm switching it to any particular color. Okay, let me take it as white, assume. I'm clicking on it, and then it should have turned into white, but there is some problem with Power BI right now. The conditional formatting isn't working. If I erase this off, okay, it just popped up back. Okay, 1 second. X-axis. I can switch here. Let me switch it to white. Okay, okay, I got it. It is changing the data on the x-axis. Okay, bars, bars. Let's go to conditional formatting. Right now it is blue color. If I want to make it into orange, yes, that is where you make it into orange. And this 364 number, I have written a formula here. Values. You go into conditional formatting here. I have changed it to greater than 100 as orange. Let me make this as white. If you see here, it was orange. 364 is an orange. So my count of sales in California, if it is greater than 100 and lesser than the maximum of value, I'm modifying it into white. So this one should be a number. Click on OK, and now you see the data is turned out into white. Okay. That is how you do conditional formatting. It is very similar to what we have in Excel, but you can play around in Power BI, because Power BI is nothing but advanced modified feature of an Excel. That is where you can play around with data, and it is very simple. You can just copy paste a graph, modify the columns, automatically the data will change and its visualizations will change. So I hope I have answered the runs. And then any other question? If there are no further questions, if you are interested in the course, you can approach Kumar or the institute. They will further arrange for it. And if you want any of the data or any other further questions, you can approach Kumar. They'll redirect you guys to me, and then hopefully we will meet again. Thank you for joining. Bye.
Thank you.